We're live. Make sure this is doing what this is supposed to be doing, and we will be all set. There we go. All right, we're there. All right, I think we can do this. Hey, folks, sit back, relax, get your favorite libation, your favorite snack. Geocaching Podcast is coming at you right about now.
You want to know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. But come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache. And if you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash on the Geocaching Podcast. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome to the Geocaching Podcast, episode 527, recorded live on March 7th, 2018. I'm your host, Headhardhat with
Scott Burks,
Taz 427, and
Info Ferret.
You can join our chat room and watch our live video stream, plus participate with us as we record this episode. All this and more can be found at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. Be sure to contact us via our voicemail line at 630-31-VOICE, and also find us on Twitter at geocachingpodcast.com/Twitter and Facebook at geocachingpodcast.com/Facebook. This episode is sponsored by our good patrons of the Geocaching Podcast. To become a contributing patron, simply click on our Patreon or PayPal logos on our webpage to help keep our podcast going. From all of us at the Geocaching Podcast, we thank you. All right, so we've had a couple of things. Scott was out on assignment, and I was out on assignment last week.
Yeah, where was I? Oh, I had the band thing. Yeah, Cam's band thing.
Yeah, and I had Amy was kind enough to share a flu bug that she had, one of those good stomach flus that are just
what a kind woman.
I know it was terrible, but yeah, last week was not a good week for going out. And it's one of those things. We had that really nice tease of spring a week or two back where it was in the 80s, upper 70s. It was, the flowers were blooming, everything's going crazy. And it has been like low 50s during the day, low 30s at night, and everything's dying. So it's just not wet. It's nasty. Of course, I'm sure it's not nearly as bad as the Northeast, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, they're getting hammered pretty good. I see.
Nailed. Now, Scott, you were over in Chicago way. What kind of, did you get much of the snow or anything with that?
No. Well, I mean, we got a dusting. There's a dusting out right now, but that's about it. There's a little in the grass, but nothing on the cement or anything like that. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Nothing.
Yeah, because they're getting like measured in feet.
And the funny thing is, we usually get it about 3 days later. Because it all comes to but like it's not even in our forecast, so it's going to miss us completely. I wonder if it's going up to Canada or something because they ain't coming to us.
Yeah, I think it's scooting by you that way and then it comes down towards by us, and the mountains just kind of break everything up, and we don't get anything after that.
Yeah, I mean we're supposed to hit the 40 right now. It's in the 30s. It's been cold here this week.
Yeah,
but it's supposed to be 40s over the weekend and then 50s next week.
Wow.
So,
yeah, we'll take it. That's cool.
I'm not complaining. 50s and in March,
Chicago,
I'll take that any day of the week. Yeah.
Well, you got to have the river in Chicago, unfrozen for St. Patty's Day. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. It takes a lot to freeze that river. So.
The day where everybody's Irish if they patted an Irish setter.
Exactly. Exactly. And what they do in Chicago is they turn the river green.
Right. The Chicago
River. You mean it's not normally?
No.
Okay. This is a vibrant green.
Yes. This is.
Yeah.
Neon.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because it only stays that way for a couple of hours too. That's it. So,
yeah.
Well, we've got. Yeah, I've got Irish ancestry.
Do you?
On a couple of branches. My cousin, and this will make one of you laughs. My cousin, who's a family historian, traced it back, and several greats back. Apparently, there is the only Jew in Limerick.
Hey, now.
Yeah.
Jew.
There you go.
And apparently he married
Irish. You don't see those very often. Not too many.
Apparently he married and converted. One may have required the other.
Wow.
And at the time, towards the times, they had about a dozen children. And they started off with the Patricks and the Marys and all the good Irish names. But by about the 8th and the 9th, the Amoses, Eli's and Levi's started creeping in. As he either got more accepted or they ran out of ideas.
I bring out the Jew names now.
That is funny. Hey, how would Seth, how things going?
We finally got some heavier rains that we've needed here because the mountains had only about like a 5 or 6% snowpack for the average of the year, and so we went from between 5 and 6% to 40% practically in a week. We still need some more so that we have water for the spring, because all of our water comes from the mountains.
Wow, really?
The snow melt. Yeah. So all the farms and everything is very reliant on it, and actually all the way down to LA, the LA basin and all that gets their snow from the Sierras, or gets their water from the Sierras.
Yeah. That's always fascinating to me how things change before, because the way that we've been more in the better climate, the warmer stuff, and just north of us, Virginia up, has been just getting clobbered with the cold and the snow and all the rest of it. And it all has to do with the Gulf Stream and all the rest of that fun stuff. And it's just amazing how that works each year. Wow. Good stuff. How about you, Sarah? How's things on the other side of the planet?
It's cooler here now. It's not too bad, bit windy. But further up the island, they've got heavy rain and flooding. Apparently, some people had to be rescued from their homes by jet boat around Hawke's Bay. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and they're possibly saying that another tropical cyclone might come our way in a week or so. Well, hey, I'm quite happy for it to have a change of heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's fine.
Wow. Because you're actually like you're going into fall now.
Oh, yeah. It's early March. Soon you'll have more daylight than we do.
Yeah, this weekend. This weekend we switch the clocks. Yep.
Oh, Thank you for letting me know, because that'll change the time of the podcast here.
Oh, there you go. That's true. That's absolutely true.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to, rather than scurry away earlier to get somewhere for 3:30.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to try. There's just that sort of 3 or 4 weeks each time before our clocks change, when it's a 2:30 start, and that gets tricky.
I don't know how the airports keep up with all this, where part of the country moves, the other part doesn't, and part of the world changes.
Oh, apparently, I heard stories that Jetstar one of the budget airlines had to cancel a few flights because they got the clock changes wrong.
Doesn't surprise me.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Am I the only one that cashed this weekend? Did anybody else go out cashing?
I got one, which was a quick dash into an event to meet a new casher who's over here for a few months, actually from Washington. Nice bloke. So that was my actual Smiley, but I've just about recovered from the walk the previous week where where a group of us decided to walk up one of the highest hills around us in a gale because it was the only day we could make.
What about you, Dan?
It was either raining or busy, one or the other, and it's like I can't schedule them to coincide where I'm busy when it's raining.
Land Monkey may be proud. I found 40 over the weekend. So
right.
What? What were you doing?
I was in the city, man. I even got my FTF already done. That's 110 months right there. Still going.
It'll never end.
Yeah, so I went we were out in the city, and I went to the area where I went to college, Loyola University, Chicago, which for the first time since 1985 has made the NCAA tournament. So when you say Loyola University, that's me. That's the school I went to.
Yeah.
And we were out there, and I haven't been to that school I haven't been there in 15 years. Easy. I just don't get to that part of the city very often anymore. Yeah. And we were cashing that area, and we took a walk on campus, and it's amazing how much stuff changes in 15 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's a whole different school. I mean, it's all different. It's amazing.
They got pewters now and everything.
I mean, compared, you figure I was there in the early 90s, and now it's like almost 2020. I mean, it's just so different. It's just so different. Yeah.
The other thing for me is I have been volunteered, is probably the best way of putting it, to host a flash mob event at the Aussie Mega at Easter.
Ooh.
So just trying to finalise the venue. The initial one suggested somebody else said, "Ooh, it's a bit narrow. We're not going to fit that many people in there." So it's over to the Aussies to see if it is somebody being over concerned or whether it does need shifting. But hey, they provided their coordinates in the first place, so I'll go with whatever.
Awesome.
And I'm doing a bit of field work for the Wellington, hopefully Mega. It's about it's sitting around just short of 250 attendees at the moment, which will be end of October. So there's a group of us are planning sort of an amazing race, treasure hunty event on it. So we're all going around trying to spot good locations and think of suitable questions that people can answer.
That's excellent. Wow, good stuff. All right, well, let's move on. We've got, please consider becoming a patron for our show. It does cost money to do podcasts and such, and every little bit helps. So if you could go to geocachingpodcast.com and click on either our PayPal or our Patreon logos, and if you can throw us a couple bucks each month, we sure would appreciate it. It helps keep things going. And good stuff. We love it when you do, and thank you to the folks that have been doing that. We greatly do appreciate it. Good stuff. Scott, you ready? We got something in the mailbag.
Yeah, hold on. Before we do, hold on a second. Before, do you want to talk about
let's do that.
The sabbatical? Okay, as all my listeners know, for the past 4 years, every summer I take the sabbatical for the coaching sabbatical, as we call it here. Usually from around April to June.
July.
Yeah.
Depends on how good the team does.
It really does depend how good the team does. So as usual, I get on when I can, but I'm never guaranteed. Assume I'm not coming, and if I come, it's a joy. I think this year we want to do a round robin fourth chair. Is that what we're talking about doing?
Yeah, if we could, what we'd like to do is have, if you're interested, if you want to, I don't want to say take Scott's place because nobody can take Scott's place.
You're irreplaceable.
But if you want to fill his shoes, as it were, while Scott's on sabbatical,
attempt to fill.
That's right, because nobody can do what Scott does. And so if you're interested in being a voice with us for that time period between beginning of April or so, we'll have you come in and we'll come in and be a guest and get a feel for things, as it were. And if you can do that for a couple of months, we'd greatly appreciate it. Simply send an email to headhardhat@gmail.com would be the best way to go, and just put in there that you are interested in being a part-time co-host, and we'd greatly appreciate it.
I want to see Daryl on the show.
I would love to see it. And even if you can do a couple of shows, it would be great.
I would love to see Mark on the show.
Yes.
Let's call people out.
Yeah.
Out here.
Joshua.
That would be awesome.
I can say it's, as a newbie, it's not as terrifying as you think it'll be. They're a nice bunch, really.
Yeah.
Even I behave.
After
Corey Stevens,
electroshock, she was fine.
A good Corey Stevens would be fun too.
Yeah, I mean, any of them. Give us a buzz, and we will plan.
Sonny and Sandy.
Hey, if you want to promote your stuff, we got that mega event or giga event that's coming up that everyone wants to get involved with as well and promote that. Anything like that would be awesome.
Oh, the giga. Yes. Yeah, so just a little heads up on that, guys. That'll be early mid-April probably.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get in touch with us either through the show website on geocachingpodcast.com or just get in touch with me directly through headhardhat@gmail.com.
But don't stop sending emails just because I'm not here.
No, please don't, because Scott was the one that came up with the transition for the mailbag, and we've been getting people ever since that.
Ever since, I'm telling you. It's
right. All right, you ready?
Not that weak Taz one.
Yes. Let's do this.
I got mail. Yay! I got mail. Yay!
Yay. All right, we got one here from not down under, but almost down under, from Two Wombles.
It's down under and to the side.
Yeah. The down under wannabe. How's that?
There you go.
Australia's the West Island.
Yes. Australia has the convicts. New Zealand does not. Hi, guys. Wonder if I can get some advice and your thoughts. I have a cache, which Sarah TS has found recently, that is a high percentage of favorite points. Without giving too much away, It has multiple logbooks, and the geocacher is required to sign the logbook for the day that they are there, i.e., if they find the cache on the 9th, then they need to sign the logbook for the 9th. If they find it on the 14th, then they need to sign the logbook for the 14th, etc. That sounds like work, Andrew.
It's an awesome cache. It really is.
Yeah, but it's work. For some of the online logs I've seen, finders have commented that it appears that some cachers have just signed the first log they have found, not for the date that they are there. Most of me thinks, meh, no big deal. And it's really not a big deal. But then part of me thinks, no, the instructions were pretty clear. They may have found the cache, but they've signed the wrong logbook. Best course of action? Let it go. Or is it grounds for deleting their log? Great show, and I watch live when I can. Always appreciate the Southern Hemisphere view of things. Cheers, Andrew, a.k.a. Two Wombles.
Excellent.
Is this a mystery cache?
Well, I think he might actually be
more like a field puzzle. You've got...
Well, it's definitely a field puzzle, but if it's not a mystery cache and you set it as a then signing the log, any log, period, within there is valid. I don't care what the cacher, you know, I don't care what the cacher states their requirements are for traditional. They are not allowed to have additional logging requirements.
As he steps up on his soapbox.
Showing his claws. Look at him.
Wow.
He got aggravated quick.
Now, I will say it took me about... There's 31 options. And of course, I was about the third last one I opened, but actually was the one I needed for that day.
So it doesn't say it on the top, like, hey, this is number 1 or number 4. You have to sit there and dig through.
You open a container and it might have logbook for the 1st. It might have logbook for the 17th. It might have logbook for the 26th.
Come on, Andrew, I would have signed the first one I saw. Sorry, pal.
Let me ask you, how many cache pages of on traditionals do you actually read?
Wow.
None.
Okay.
That one it's worth it.
Mic dropping over there.
If there's pretty pictures, I like it, but other than that.
I mean, sometimes if it's an interesting title, I might go in and read it, but the vast majority of it, I'm sorry, I don't read your cache page unless you're a multi or a mystery or...
I mean, Andrew, were you trying to be annoying, or was there like a point to what you were trying to do? Because that's just irritating.
No, it is fun. It is a fun cache, and without reading the listing, some of which I've actually still got in my memory. It's you get there, you find the box, you open the box, you find.
Thank you, Andy.
The cache with multiple containers, and I can't give you too much more away, otherwise.
Fair enough.
I keep open, and you open them till you find the right one.
Okay.
If I understood that those were the rules, I would guidelines. I would try to follow it, but if it's a traditional, again, I most likely would not have read it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have read it either. I probably would have signed the first one I saw.
No, that one you probably would have read actually, but yeah, no, it's a good one.
Okay.
Maybe I would have.
Yeah.
I think we put down on that particular one, and if it needs to be specified, maybe on the cache page or more directly on.
Well, I mean, is he trying to prove a point? Is he trying to get data for something, or is it just?
No. I think it's just trying to be a bit of fun.
There's nothing fun about that.
Look. If you ever get this side of the planet, I'll take you, and you're in that area. I'll take you to it.
Well, talk to Chad. Yeah. Chad's the one most likely to get on any side of the planet.
That's me going to New Zealand in the next 10 years.
Put inside the main container something that says, "Do not sign just any log," in big red letters.
Good idea, yeah.
Read the cache page.
I want a pop-up, so when you open up the ammo can, this thing pops up that says...
I want it holographically projected.
I'll be happy with just an AR.
Taz is right though. There should be a laminated piece of paper or something in there saying, "Hey, don't just sign any log, please."
I honestly can't remember if there was or not. I was so relieved at finding the container and then looking at it and thinking, "What the hell do I do? Where is it?"
I mean, I get what you were trying to do, Andrew. I could could also see how annoying that can be, especially if you hiked up there and now you're.
It's not that far a hike. It's in a little reserve nearish the airport, so it's not. it's not that difficult to get to.
Right.
Uh-huh. Oh, here, Andrew's in the chat room. He says there isn't a piece of paper laminated. It says.
Okay.
There
You put
go.
a piece of paper and then laminate it.
There's the helpful hint.
But I mean, if Sarah says it's cool, it's got to be. Well, maybe I'm missing
It is a
something.
good one.
Maybe because I'm not there and I don't see the cache, that maybe I'm missing the point. But in theory, that sounds aggravating.
I think Andrew should
As a
pay for the
finer.
plane tickets for us to all come out and check it out personally, and we will be glad to do that.
I will go for that.
Yeah.
As long as you log them back.
I'll give it favorite points if you do that.
Yes. Channel.
Hey, man, I think
practice.
Sarah, does it have a ton of favorite points?
I've got it open right now, 138,
All right.
Wow.
which is pretty high for a New Zealand cat.
I think
Feeling okay.
alright, then you know what? Then maybe it's kind of like you got to be there kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'm just going to bring up Project GC and see what the most favorited one in New Zealand is. I think it's, but so you talk amongst yourselves while I do that.
Okay. Well, so you're asking, is it grounds for deleting a log? I don't think so. I don't think you could. But I don't think you should either. Or Taz, you agree with me?
I wouldn't delete someone's logs if I had some additional logging requirements and it was a traditional.
Right. Andy, what do you think?
I'm the same way. I think if it just needs a tweak and it just needs a little more instruction in there to get what you want as a result, then on the cache page and then in the geocache on the lid, put this is what I'm looking for. Do this to sign the log.
Yeah, I would try to like Andy said, to tweak it to encourage what you're desiring.
And then you'll get mad when people sign the piece of paper.
Right. Exactly. Then delete the little buggers off. And
It's like if you're too damn lazy to do it, so use this logbook.
Use this book, the lazy book.
The lazy book. I like that. You can do this or use the lazy book.
As far as I know, the most favorited cache in New Zealand is GC46, geocached by Kevin Anderson.
And shockingly, the oldest one.
Yes.
Assuming.
Which is a May 2001. So if you want a golden oldie, it's just outside Wellington. That's got 274 favorites.
Once again, we'll be more than willing to accept any plane tickets over to New Zealand to check these out personally.
And I will guarantee an additional favorite point to your cache.
Yes.
Andrew, NFL tickets, I will favorite and I will do it correctly. I promise. I won't even sign lazy. I'll do it right.
That's right. All right, good stuff. So thank you to Two Wombles for sending in, and we appreciate it. We love hearing from folks because it brings up good discussion for this. And for some reason, some of our better ones always seem to be with Kiwi. So I'm not quite sure exactly how that works or why, but we get some good stuff going.
I'll also say I won't swap presidents.
Oh, don't even start. No.
President.
We
get political all of a sudden.
Wow. We just went from Kiwis to...
Well, you said all the better ones are Kiwis, so I thought I'd just go with that theme.
No. We'll leave that right there. Let's move on to the news because this is a two-parter. We'll do the first part and then we'll talk about the second part in a little bit. Let's jump into that. Taz, you ready?
Sure.
All right.
The news. The year is 2650. Get your Tesla Spacemobile ready to go. They didn't put that in there, but I'm putting that in there. So you are invited to join the Geocaching Explorers Club and be among the first geocachers to visit every planet in our solar system, earning souvenirs along the way. Find different geocache types to collect points on your Friends League between March 19th and April 8th and earn up to 10 new souvenirs to become an official space explorer. So they got some links here on it and showing you, it's kind of like the typical thing where the traditionals, virtual webcams, where it goes 5 points, letterbox, multi-caches, 10 points, mysteries, earth caches, 15 points, events, 15 points, et cetera, et cetera. You get your earth for 5 points. You get your what's a planet, is not a planet, is a dwarf planet, Pluto, for 500 points.
I am Pluto's a planet.
And your you can find Uranus for 200 points.
Hey now.
Yay!
No charge on that one. No charge. Thank you.
Wow.
okay, I'm in the camp of Pluto's a planet. I'm sorry.
I am from the.
So am I.
Pluto's a planet camp.
There are two.
I just had to make fun of it. That's all.
Well, of course, somebody had to do it because we were all ready to jump on it. I'm just saying. This is the webpage, what it looks like right now. We'll have the link in the show notes where the actual planetary pursuit space.
I literally know nothing about this, so assume I'm ridiculously dumb. And
we're gonna we'll talk a little bit about that. Unless Chad, you want to do that first, we can jump into it. But this is what it is, and if you go to get started, it just takes you to this webpage. So, but just
click the get started button on there, and it'll give you the details about your friends list and those type of details, the FAQ, so you can get started and so you or your friends league. So if you don't have a friends league, join your friends league. So if you have friends that are in your geocaching profile, then you're already in a friend league.
Yes.
So, but I'm saying the point system. So if I need 500 is it 500 for Earth? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 500, is that 500 of my friends or 500 of me?
500 individual points is what it says. So you need to earn 500 points. So if you go to, what is that, about for 30 some odd events, you're almost there. Like 33 events in one traditional cache, and you're there.
Why would I go to 33 events in a month?
I don't know. I'm just showing a point how many
you did for the friend league individual.
Well, find 100
points for Earth. Pluto's 500.
We've actually got. Why don't we just jump into it? There's our second link that we have in our show notes actually is the FAQs for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
that actually has all the information. We might as well just jump on that right now and go over it.
Right, drop off a trackable. We're gonna do this again. Do you think they fixed that bug, or you think the bug is still active?
So how to play the planets? You get 5 points for Earth, 10, or you need 5 points to get the Earth, 10 points for Venus, 20 points for Mercury, 40 points for Mars, 65 points for Jupiter, 100 points for Saturn, 200 points for Uranus. 300 points for Neptune, and 500 points for the planet that is no longer a planet, but is a planet.
It's a planet.
Jerk.
There are two things in this world. Pluto is a planet, and Han Solo fired first. Get it?
Yes.
Damn right.
Just saying.
Damn right he did. Always. I teach my children. Toby will tell you that. Who shot first, Toby? On.
Yes.
So no revisionist history here.
Wait, but this says points needed on the Friends League. Well, what's the point of the Friend League if I have to do them myself?
Yeah, collect
I'm
all
so
point
confused.
souvenirs, 500 points, and earn this meta souvenir, also known as the official Space Explorer.
Well, it says points needed on the Friends League, and then puts individual in parentheses around it. So I'm assuming each individual needs to acquire.
But then what's the point of the Friend League?
Bragging rights, I think.
Bragging rights, yeah.
Yeah.
In the past, when we did another one like this, we still needed to have our individual points there.
I remember that, but your friend points also counted as well. It was like 400 friend points, but like 100 of them had to be yours or something like that, wasn't it? That the Mary Hyde. It was Mary Hyde.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I slept since then.
Yeah. Yeah,
so we'll find out more.
Yeah, you get different points for different things that you do, like Chad said.
The structures are kind of vague.
It does have a little asterisk chicka here that says the max number of points you can earn for any cache log is 15 points.
15 points.
Which probably means that you can do one trackable.
No, so you can't. Oh, for any no, because what you can do is what if you don't do a log for a trackable? You do a note. Yes. You do a note. Does that count?
We'll have to find out.
If that's the case, and they did fix the bug.
Scott will find a way to cheat the system.
Now, the official thing that they say, what is a friend league? It says the friend league is a leadership board that allows you and your friends geocaching activity earn points when you log a cache, attend an event, or complete another geocaching task. The number of points vary depending on the task you had. The friend league displays the total points you collect during the promotion. You can also see how many points your friends have earned during the promotion. The friend league will reset to 0 on Monday, April 9th.
So it's only you then. So
it's just you. You could just see how your friends do.
Okay. Right. So one good caching day, you could get these all, basically.
I'm thinking.
on a good cache.
Yeah.
You get a good power trail. You got this thing down.
Yeah.
So you're going to come on and say I've finished it all in the weekend.
Yeah.
Actually, probably a day, knowing you.
No, I can't. I got baseball coming up. Trust me, my caching halts pretty hard. When is it? March 19th to April 8th. Yeah, this is like thick of it. Yeah, I probably know.
Yeah.
Find a cache, dip your entire geocoin collection into it, and pick them up again.
I might have a few that I can do there. So.
Andy, that's Pluto behind you. It's all Pluto right there.
No, sir, that's
Pluto.
Or mine. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's there. Somebody's.
I might have to set up a caching play date for this.
I mean, did you Rock? I mean, come on. They made
caching play date. That was almost adorable.
Yes. So anyways, that's the planetary pursuit. If you guys are interested in doing that, it looks like it's a lot of fun. And once again, it's something unique that they've come up with to go out and have some fun and do what you need to do.
So I tell you, I tell these guys off the air. Me and Jesse were arguing about this over dinner. We literally almost got an argument about it because she's actually writing a whole article about it on shorthandits.com, her blog. Go visit it. Mm-hmm. And she's saying that people are griping about it on social media. Have you seen any of this, Taz?
I have not checked that out.
No, I haven't seen anyone gripe about it, but I haven't been social medializing much recently. So
I guess people are griping about it because they're saying, basically they're telling you have to find this cache for this many points, and people are saying, well, isn't that just like challenge caches? Like that you said we couldn't do. You said we couldn't do challenge caches because it's telling us, you're telling people how to cache, and basically you're telling us how to cache by doing this.
Hang on. Nobody says you can't do challenge caches, and you can still put challenge caches out.
Yeah.
Yes, you can, but not like they were. They're very different than they were.
This is a promotional thing.
There's the only real limitation is that it has to be checker capable now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what people are saying. I'm telling you what people are saying. Man.
This is a 1 month thing to get you out to go out and encourage you to go out and try something different. Because the last thing you want to hear from people is like we have brought up in the past. It's like nothing's changed. Everything's the same. Why are we going stagnant? Blah, blah, blah. Every year they come up with cool things to do now, which I give them all the kudos in the world for doing.
Right.
And so if you want to gripe and you don't want to do it, then don't.
No, people are going to gripe about it. People are going to find anything to gripe about. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, you it takes about 10 caches to get 2/3 of these.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless you're,
so you don't get all the souvenirs because you didn't go out and do 30 caches.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, souvenirs are. I mean, it's for me. It's not for anybody else. How often you go to somebody's profile and look at their souvenirs?
Never.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So
hell, I don't even anymore. So
somebody nearish us put out a challenge cache on needing a certain number of souvenirs and a certain number of them and so there's the odd one for that, but beyond that I don't go prowling other people's stamp album collection effectively.
I like to collect them, but I don't go say, here, look at my souvenirs, aren't they lovely?
It's not like you're a Boy Scout where you got that banner you put over your chest with all the different things.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't doubt it if somebody
300 souvenirs. Look at him.
Yes.
Ooh, good cacher.
So yeah, that's how it goes. And then, something else to do to go out and have fun. And like I said, if you don't want to do it, if you can't get enough points to find Uranus, then that's your issue. That's how it goes. All right, let's move on. I thought this was cute too, and I want to thank Sarah for bringing up. She got most of the stuff for our Cache or Coffee tonight to talk about. They got the 9 tips for responsible cache maintenance, and again, we'll have the links to the planetary stuff and all the other things that we talked about tonight. And one of the things that they have on their blog is 9 tips for reasonable cache maintenance. And one of the things that I thought was really, really cute that they did right off the very beginning of the article was to bring a little note. And it says, "Dear cache owner, You hid me under this rock next to this waterfall 2 months ago. It's a beautiful spot. I enjoy it very much. But now, after 25 fines, a rainstorm, and an encounter with a moose, my logbook is full, my trackables are damp, and I'm 15 feet away from where I should be. Help, love, your cache. And I don't mean love your cache. I mean love, it's from the cache. And anyways, this is a really good.
But we don't judge.
We don't. It's not a bad thing. But yeah, it's kind of a cute thing where they come up with some of the things that usually it's spring or fall. And I guess between us and Sarah, it really doesn't matter because if it's spring here, it's fall there, and vice versa. So it works out all the way.
Or even autumn.
Or even autumn if you're Kiwi.
Or Brit.
We say autumn, but we usually say fall.
Yeah,
fall. Fall's recognized, but it's a states thing. We do autumn.
Okay, well, you're Kiwi. What do you want?
Or a Brit.
Or
I'm worse.
But yeah, they've got some really good stuff that's in here, and I thought we'd kind of do a flyby on this. And well, one of the first things they hit is probably one of the most controversial parts about a cache owner is, and they put it, and it's a quote, "It's your job, yours alone."
Yes, you gotta love the community maintenance people. Don't you love those guys?
Yes, this is interesting. I'll open this up. So go ahead, guys.
Well, yeah, I definitely think it's a community, or that it's your job and yours alone. But I do appreciate those who have maintained mine in Texas. But if it gets to a point where it's not being maintained, they will be archived.
They will be. Oh, yeah.
The ones here, I maintain them.
Yeah.
I did a check on mine over the weekend. I sat and made sure all mine have been found recently, and they all have been. So it's it's been found. I don't know. Check on it. So.
And that's kind of leads into the second one a bit. Pay attention to the logs.
Yeah.
So when you get the email that says it's been found, go in there and spend a couple of seconds to make sure that it's been found, but it looks like a moose ate it.
If it has an encounter with a moose or a raccoon,
it's broken and scattered all over the grass.
Yes, it may need a little bit of help.
Right, because not everyone does a needs maintenance log.
Yeah.
Right.
It's had an encounter with a lawnmower and lost.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen with it. This time of year, there's been a lot of flooding, and there's a lot of times stuff like that float away and whatnot. That's why it's so important.
Forest fires.
Forest fires, or privately controlled burns will go through and do that.
Sure. Happens here all the time. Controlled burns, yeah.
Yep.
And if someone all of a sudden is saying the coordinates are 50 feet off, it may have moved.
Grew legs.
And it does for multiple reasons. I mean, you get anything from animals to flooding to geocachers that go, this is a really nice spot. But that one over there, that's even better. So I'm going to put it.
They wanted it there. I know it.
They do.
Or kids find them and move them and drop them.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. So definitely pay attention to your logs. And when you start seeing things like full log or maintenance, or I'm going to archive this sucker if you don't do something, you might want to react. So it's always a good thing to go. And actually, that jumps into the third thing that I thought was really nice too. Verify the coordinates.
You should do that when you hide the cache.
Yes, when you, because how many times I over the years we've gone through different phones that have gone through different variances of. I remember where if somebody put down the coordinates of a brand new geocache using an Apple phone, that I immediately knew it was 100 yards off of whatever the heck.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, the old ones. Yeah.
Yeah, the old ones way back when. Mm-hmm. And so that was always a thing where people would go and say, "Oh, by the way, this is the actual coordinates to what it took."
Yeah, and now everybody's got GNSS chipsets, which combine GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, Beidou, all the different satellite coordinate systems that are out there today, and it's getting more and more accurate.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah, I still tweak them. I still tweak them in Google Maps, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I know it's one of the first things that I do if I've got a landmark of some sort and it's not in the middle of the woods, I go and see, okay, do those coordinates match with the satellite views?
Yeah. And it's amazing how much of a difference sometimes, because back in the old days, if you used a GPS unit, you had to let it settle, because it would sit there and do 100 tries and then come up with an average of what the coordinate should be, and then that helped a lot.
And there are averaging apps for your smartphones too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which is also a good place for marking where your car is, but that's a whole different subject.
So that's one of the things that I do is, like, when I'm prepping the spot for it, I'll first thing I'll do is I'll launch the GPS averaging app and tell it to start, and while I'm getting the cache into place and everything, it's sitting there averaging.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very, very good thing. Because the phones still aren't as accurate as we want, but I did hear the chipsets coming out this year, they were talking, because I read the article last year, are supposed to really revolutionize the pinpoint accuracy. So this should be interesting.
I mean, what we really need is Galileo satellites to start being officially online, and which I think is due out later this year. And that'll be an excellent help.
Yep. But then again, it's always, in the old days, we used to say, okay, the person that hid the geocache could be anywhere up to 30 feet off. The person finding the geocache could be up to 30 feet off. So it could be up to 60 feet off from one end to the other. Kind of still keep that idea, because X never really does mark the spot.
Nope.
And if some of those old caches are still, the coordinates have never been updated, and they're still 30 feet off.
Yeah, I've seen a fair few where it's gone up as the original, and then somebody's found it and said, "Well, my GPS reckons it's this," and go back through the logs and see if somebody else has put alternative coordinates. Because sometimes they're needed.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh yeah,
sure.
Yeah, interesting. The fourth one they have in here, mark missing trackables as missing. I have had maybe one geocache, one trackable that generally keeps up on moving. All my other ones have just fallen off the planet.
That's amazing.
I don't know if people just pick them up and keep them or whatever, because the picture that they're showing in the article has that where we had all the trackable ducks, the devil duck thing that we had last year, I think it was. Where they show some different examples, and the two that Amy and I put out, just like two caches moved and they were gone, and it's just amazing how that has happened for trackables. I don't even know if anybody even puts them out as much anymore.
Mine are either missing or in the German vortex.
Yes.
Well, I'm carrying around somebody else's geocoin because it's sod's law for me. As soon as I pick up a geocoin or a trackable, you're sort of destined to find a string of micros that it won't, or nanos that it will not fit in.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is the definition of a micro.
And by the time and the one time you find something big enough is the one time you forget to bring that bag with you. Or
Jessie has a whole bag full that she can't get rid of, because it's like she even took them out this weekend. She's like, I'll find something this weekend. Nope, she couldn't find anything. Whatever happened to regulars, man? I mean, seriously?
Yeah, I know.
It's a joke. Everything is a micro.
Yeah, we did a show years back on Geocaching Podcast. Daryl, in his infinite glory, went through and used Project GC and just idolized the crap out of trends of geocache sizes over the years, and you could just see it, the curve just nosedived.
It's just ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
I tell you, I've got a rule now. I hide nothing smaller than a large. Nothing smaller than that anymore. I'm done. Yeah.
It's amazing.
So you're not hiding any?
No, I hide. I don't hide micros anymore. Yeah. No more.
A large. Those are pretty big containers to put out.
5-gallon pickle bucket.
Maybe I'll put a regular out. Fine. Yeah. Regular is the largest.
Regular's good. You can put out a good
regular's good.
No micros anymore. None of those. But I got a whole slew of ammo cans. I got a whole slew of
I got a whole closet.
I got a whole slew of stuff in my garage. And I just moved. I have a forest reserve right near me. I'm just waiting for spring. It's empty. All the cache in it just got archived. It was a series now that got archived.
Don't tell me you went around and put Need archives on them just to clear the area out.
No, I didn't. I got them years ago. I got them 9 years ago.
Yeah.
But they just got archived. So come spring, I'm gonna go load that thing up. Nothing but regulars, you know.
Well, that's a good. Hopefully, other people start putting larger caches out too, because it's a lot more fun. And for crying out loud, put some stuff in it. I'm just saying.
I know, right?
Yeah. Number 5.
Well, number 4 is funny because I just did this too when I was doing my caches. I went to my collectibles, my trackables, and what I have still out there. I mean, I think I lost 2 now, so I'm down to like 3. Like literally out of like 40.
One of your guys keeps popping up as moving.
Well, my guy, my Fisher Price man's still moving. He's one of those.
He's still moving. I keep getting nonsense on that.
He's getting closer to Mark. Yeah, he's about an hour and a half away from Mark right now. He's getting there. He's close. Mark refuses to drive. He's like, I don't cache anymore. I'm not driving an hour and a half to go. It has to come to me.
Wow.
Tell me where it is end of July, and if I'm in the area, I'll pick it up.
There you go.
It was right in the middle of England is where it was. And Mark's in Nottingham.
Yeah, that's a lot of the middle of England.
I know. Mark's in Nottingham, and it was like in the middle. It was about an hour and a half away.
I know. I know Nottingham.
I can't remember. Something with an S.
Oh, that'll work.
I know. It's so big. It was a short word with an S is what it was in that part of England. I can't remember the name.
With a chicka over the E.
With a chicka.
Yes. All right, let's see. Number 5, keep the cache clean. You know what? I think if somebody would check their geocaches and realize that they use that cheap transport Glad box.
Oh god.
That it may need a replacement after, I don't know, an hour.
5 minutes. Yeah.
You put it out. Because we've seen it. We've been out, when you get to hot days in North Carolina and it's just searing heat. We literally went for FTFs and the containers were already warping because of it just buckling under.
Dude, same thing with Chicago with the winter. It cracks it. You don't think those things don't crack in a heartbeat? Come on.
Yeah. Same thing out here, and I'll inevitably open them up out here, and they'll be full of a blackish mold.
Yes. Yes.
Condensation is the problem with that, mostly with us.
It's a crude form of cray paper and paper mache that gets formed of the log after a very short amount of time too. So that's why it just really helps to put a little extra buck into your container and put something out a little more quality.
And people who are swapping swag in caches, don't put food related items in there. No candy. No chewing gum. No, it's like your kid might think it's cool to stick a piece of gum in there, but ants and everything else get the smell, and they're all in the cache.
Yeah. And sweets just get wet and go soggy and sticky and horrible, basically.
Yeah. It's basically all goo. So no fun. So if you can go out and check your cache once in a while and just see if it's clean or if it's got a hornet's nest in it or whatever it happen in the woods. Just saying. Yeah.
I had one of my lamp skirts had a wasps underneath it.
Yeah.
And so I just upped the difficulty a little bit. That's all I did.
Well, down here, one of the things that's very, very common is black widows. You have to be careful, and especially in signposts there. Black widows are very, very common. And,
really? God, really?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. No, I've actually got videos back when I used to do with geosnippets of looking down either at the top of a stop sign or in a guardrail. You never just stick your hand in places like that because it's like, oh, look at the nice big black widow protecting the geocache. Yeah. You
see, with any of that in Chicago. Nothing kills you here.
Oh yeah.
Nothing kills you here.
People kill you here.
Oh well, true enough.
Guns.
Black widows and brown recluses.
Yeah.
None of that.
Yeah. Wow. So that goes under keeping the cache clean as well.
Yeah. I think so.
Number 6, redesign the container if necessary. One of the things that happens is when you put out that nice green and brown camouflage geocache in that bush in the spring/summer, that guess what happens by the fall or the winter? It sticks out like a sore thumb when it comes to things like that. Because you got to just kind of be aware of all the seasons when you put a geocache out.
And here's one more thing really quickly about tips for cache maintenance.
Yeah.
Really quickly, this is kind of important because this happens all the time.
Yeah.
If the cache goes missing and you replace it and you change the kind of cache it is, and if you said what kind of cache it is in the log or in your description, but then you change the type, tell us that you changed the type of cache it is.
Or if your hint is related, is no longer valid.
If I'm looking for a lock and log, and it's now a bison hanging 4 feet above me, I'm not looking 4 feet above me for a lock and log.
Yeah,
that happens all the time.
Yeah. Even if you change it to other for the size, at least that gives you something that for the.
I mean, that's all I ask. Is just make a note. Put a note in the logs. Just hey, I changed it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Important. I know it seems simple and stupid, but it's important for people.
All the time.
Yeah.
And the type of container is also what you want to consider. One of the things that they show is like a peanut butter container in the article. You really have to be careful with things like if you're going to put out a glass, I hate even saying it, a glass container.
Oh God, don't put out
which is against the rules.
Which is against the rules, but they're out there because I've had a couple of times with my nice pokey.
Yep. Bink.
And it's like, crap. Found it.
Found it.
Yeah. May need maintenance, yes.
Yeah, may need maintenance because duct tape not going to fix this.
It's a pile.
Well, at least if they've duct taped it up tight, then it is relatively intact broken glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're sticking your hand in there.
No, I'm not sticking my hand in there.
Yeah.
But you're able to tell the owner, it's like, you need to clean this up. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oops. And it does happen. And the other parts are too is if you don't properly camouflage something correctly, and the camouflage peels off, or things like that, where suddenly that nice dull faded is now this shiny opposite of what you have. It may not have the same effect that you had even 6 months ago to a year, because things change a lot with climates. So that's you got to kind of really think, especially if it's not really waterproof, but you really wish it was, and you're putting it on anyways. Don't do a dunk test.
I thought it was waterproof.
I thought it was. Put it in the dishwasher for a run and see if it works. Your wife's not going to be happy, but you'll know if it's waterproof or not. So good things to keep in mind when you're putting on a geocache, and it may need some tweaking, I think is what they're going by with that.
Sure.
Yeah. Anchored ammo cans where water level rises and gets above where it can will get in that ammo can.
Yes, it will.
I know I have a cache that's that way. Thankfully, people maintain it for me.
Yeah. It's currently a bobber, so it's. And sometimes there are moments that you're going to just have to temporarily disable the cache. When it comes to something like this, that just makes common sense, and it makes it so much better for geocachers, so that they don't sit there and have to write to you saying, you really need to disable this. Because,
I love how now geocaching guilts you when you try and put out a new cache. They totally guilt you, like, you got all this stuff disabled, by the way. You want to do this? You sure?
It's like you got 3 caches over here that you said you were going to put out, but never got approved, and you're going to try to put on another.
Yeah, exactly.
Throwing me guilt trips.
Yeah, it's good, especially for Scott, because it's just ingrained in his blood to guilt you anyway. So
I maintain my stuff. What are you talking about?
So that's just how it is. If it's in that bad a shape, shut it down for a while, go fix it, and if it's something that you can't get to right away, disable it so that you can keep other people from having the same thing, because nobody wants to find stuff like that,
or not find stuff.
Or not find something like that.
And if it's not a high quality cache and you're having troubles with it, archive it.
There we go.
They have a life cycle. Some of them are worth some are worth keeping going come what may, but a lot of them, it's an opportunity for somebody else to do something even more awesome.
Exactly.
That's right.
But also keep in mind what they consider geolitter. So if you're gonna do something like that, and you're gonna archive it, go pick it up. Now, if it's if it's one of those ones where the cache has been missing out of the past, and you literally going to archive because nobody can find it, you probably won't either when it's out where it is, and unless it's one of your FU hides, and then you have to go check it. But go get it, go pick it up. Don't just leave it out there because you don't want to deal with it anymore.
Or you're giving people a twofer, which are always nice too. People appreciate. So.
Or you ask. Or if you're no longer in your area, you can ask a friend to get the container for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So free container.
Yep. Now this one's touchy that because about needs maintenance and how much fun that can be. Is that as much of a thing anymore as far as people putting needs maintenance more than they should? I don't hear it as much.
I do it if there's like 4 DNFs and not the same day kind of a thing.
I've got one cache that still gets a fair, healthy dose of but needs maintenance.
Yeah,
that never needs maintenance.
Yeah, because that ends up being just that's one of those things where if it's an actual like Scott likes to put an FU hide, where it's just a bugger to find.
Well, this really isn't an FU hide unless you're a newbie cacher,
right?
And then it's a really FU hide.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
And I haven't seen that kind yet hide.
Yes, exactly. Once you've seen it, it's like, oh, that's obvious.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's just one of those things. They talk about owner maintenance in general, just to make sure that somebody says need maintenance for that to go out and check it out. And then again, that goes back to everything. Check your logs. If you're getting notices that are saying that it needs maintenance, especially if it's from other people that tend to be more of the more experienced, if they've got 5 hides or finds.
Yeah. If it's a DNF, I look at when I'm hunting, if I look at, it's got a couple DNFs, I see how many hides they have. How many finds if they have 10 finds, I'm like, it's there. Come on, let's go.
Yeah. Exactly.
Double digit finders, like, no. Go cache some more somewhere else.
Yeah, it's going to take a little more experience.
You'll be back.
Exactly. And it's not a bad thing. It's just an experience.
No, exactly.
It's point of view and point of reference. And
hey, I still DNF things. That just times your brain isn't just tuned into that particular location.
I love it when
I think I DNF like 6 caches on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'll DNF, and the next day, someone with 3 finds it. And they're like,
yeah. Been there, done that. Had that happen.
Oh yeah, that's part of the experience. All right, last one they've got is archive the cache. We kind of hit it a little bit, but you know what? There are times where you just got to let it go. Now, there's 2 things that you can do. If you've got a geocache that you are particularly fond of and you would like to not have it die, but you can't take care of it anymore, you do have the option of having it adopted by another geocacher. And that does happen. Yep. So it's a relatively simple process. You just say, you write to the person that has it through the adoption page that you want to adopt, and the other person accepts it, and ta-da, you're done. It's really not that complicated of a thing to do. On the other hand, if it's something that you're just, tired of, you're getting out of geocaching, you just don't want to, deal with maintenance with it anymore, you want to leave it open for somebody else, that kind of stuff, then it's just time to archive it. And it's just, it's time to let it go. And that's all there is to it. You just let it go. And like I said, pick up your geolitter if you don't want anybody else to take over for it or don't feel it's worth it. And leave the space open for somebody else to come out and put something cool.
Sure. Yeah.
It happens. It happens all the time. And actually, I wish it would happen more than sometimes when it doesn't, because there's situations where there's geocaches that have been out there forever, and just they just need enough needs maintenance or should archive kind of comments to get rid of them because they need to be gone. So.
Oh sure.
Yeah, I don't put needs archived out lightly, but I've probably put out about half a dozen in the 5 years or so when there's been a string of DNFs, string of, by people who would have found it if it had actually been there to find.
Yeah, and if the
Not
cache
the
owner
newbies.
hasn't gone to the caching page in
Right,
in
yeah.
3
We haven't
years,
logged on in a year and a half. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
back.
We've had 10 people who each have an average of somewhere around 5,000 caches finds each, looking for the thing for an hour, and it didn't get found. It likely is missing.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Or it's been the ammo can's been replaced by a bison.
Exactly.
Yeah, that too. And you can't do anything about it. Now, there
Yeah.
have been cases that I have looked at, and this is debatable, but this is some of the things that I've done, is it was in a really, really cool spot. It was really good. The geocacher obviously had not been on geocaching website in forever, so they're not looking at the maintenance stuff on this. I've done maintenance for those.
Mhm.
I've actually gone through and replaced the container, replaced the log.
Well, people do that all the time here.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
old
Yeah.
caches that are really cool. Yeah, the community.
If it's worth keeping and just letting it stay in the system and go that way, that's a judgment call.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Right.
try to contact the cache owner and say, hey, this is what's happened. If you want something, obviously they don't want the logbook because the logbook is goo, that kind of thing. You leave them a complimentary note saying, hey, at least I've done this. If you need to contact me, I got the stuff here. If you, for some reason, you have to.
Or if you want to adopt it out to me.
Right. Or if you want to adopt it out to me and go that way. Because I've adopted 50 geocaches over the years. And that's happened too. They've just been.
So Andy never says no, basically.
No, I do now. I do now. Back when I first started, no, I wanted them.
Yes, man.
Give me. But I'm a little pickier now in my
Yeah,
old
I'd
age.
only consider adopting if it was somewhere that I'd actually have a chance of doing the maintenance myself,
Yes, and that's key.
rather than playing past the parcel.
Yeah, that's key for something like that, because that becomes a factor, and it happens all the time. For a good example, Oxford's an hour, 15 hour and a half away from where I'm at, and I worked up there for several years. I must have put 40 geocaches up there during the time that I was up there. And after a while, you move away, and it's like, do I really want to drive all the way up there to go? So I had other people. I had other people take over for those for me. But if I didn't, I just would have archived them.
Yeah, I mean, I moved. Remember, I moved 40 miles.
Oh, yeah.
Last summer. And so far, I think I've archived 2 of them. I still have 3 more left up there. But like once those are gone, or once they're gone, eventually they all go. Once they're gone, that's it. I'm not replacing. I'm just archiving. Just because I'm not gonna go. Kind of deal with it.
It happens, and that's part of the life cycle of geocaching. I mean,
There's nothing wrong with archiving caches. People put them, people replace them.
Oh yeah.
Especially if it's a good spot, it's a good spot. It'll get hit.
Exactly.
I've waited for spots where, like, as soon as one got archived, I ran and put a cache out. I'm like, that's my spot now. I've done that. Seriously, I have. In good spots. Yeah.
All right. Well, good stuff. Good discussion, and a good Cacher coffee. And I want to thank Chad. We want to thank Sarah, and thank Scott for all they do. And want to thank you, fine folks, for stopping on by and giving us a look or a listen, and having us make funny planetary jokes, because it's just us. It's fun. All right. Good stuff. And I think it's time to move on. Thank you for subscribing to the Geocaching Podcast. Please be sure to join us each and every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another episode of the Geocaching Podcast, right here on the Geocaching Podcast website at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. The video version of our show is available on YouTube, and the audio version is available on our home website, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and many of your favorite podcatchers. We love hearing from our viewers and listeners, so please visit us through our social media sites or contact us via our voicemail line at 630-31-VOICE. The Geocaching Podcast is a Headhardhat production. It is produced by Andy Smith, Scott Burks, Chad Courtney, and Sarah T.S. The show is copyright 2018 by Andrew T. Smith. All rights reserved. And clear. Good show.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff there. Excellent. Thank you, Sarah, for the suggestions. Those are awesome.
It was just what I saw popping up in various places.
Oh,
so
that's great.
if we get really bored, we've got that one about changing attributes.
I think we'll bring that up. Probably that might be
Yeah.
news next week. We'll put that in.
It's not a biggie. We'll see what else comes out of the
Well,
woodwork.
when they say it's not a biggie, it's not a biggie.
Yeah. And most of the forum moans about it. Why are you tweaking that? And when there's so much else that's crap.
Yeah. That's human species. What are we gonna do? All right, folks. Have a good one. Have a safe one. And we will see you next week. On the
Okay.
Geocaching Podcast.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.